I'm running for the state Senate in the 10th District because I've enjoyed being the state representative in Lincoln County for the last 8 years. I've been elected 4 times in Lincoln County, and every time I've run, I've gained percentages in the voting public because people have enjoyed what I've done in representing them to the best of my ability. And this constituency I have in the 10th District is very much like what I have in Lincoln County right now.
What issue would you say is not getting enough attention in the legislature right now?
Well, there's a couple issues. One is transportation. I've been on the Transportation Committee the last 8 years and the ranking Democrat, and as everyone knows, the tax bill that would have supported MoDOT failed, and it failed pretty miserably, quite frankly. So we're going to have to revisit how we help transportation. I just came in on 70. The amount of truck traffic is just tremendous. We need 6 lanes on 70. We actually needed it a couple years ago. When CertainT is finished with their asphalt shingle company, which is located at the edge of Jonesburg, there's going to be an additional 200 trucks a day on 70. Quite frankly, I don't know where we're going to put all the traffic. So we're going to have to find a way to budget and to find more money for MoDOT. Some people are telling me now they want us to go back and revisit a fuel tax, possibly on diesel fuel. And I think we're going to have to take a hard look at that. We might need to do more polling to see whether people would support a gasoline and diesel, or if diesel would be enough. But we're going to have to find a way to help transportation. Many of our roads and bridges, especially in our area, are needing to be replaced. And there's not going to be enough money to replace all those bridges and to work on the roads, widen them like 47. We've had several serious accidents, fatal accidents recently, and that road definitely needs to be widened.
What do you think the state's policy should be on taxes and tax credits?
We have to be very careful on tax credits to not give away more than we should. In the last election, in the last General Assembly, in the last 2 days of session, they passed so many tax credits that if all of them would have been implemented, we would have nearly bankrupted the local governments. And so thankfully, the leadership was smart enough not to question the governor's vetoes and didn't even bring up most of them. The one that I was happy to support, though, was one which had the food pantries getting a little more tax credits and the pregnancy centers. The food pantry bill was one of the bills that I sponsored last year, and Senator Sifton. And one thing in this great country of ours, with all the agriculture we raise, we shouldn't have anybody going to bed hungry. So I do support the food pantries and the pregnancy centers as well.
What should the state's policy be on education?
On education, we have to find a way to totally fund our schools. We've got a serious problem right now where there are people trying to cut, like the main tax bill, where all the Republicans and 1 Democrat voted to give the tax credits, and that bill we should have never overridden the governor's veto. I supported the governor's veto that at this time we can't afford a tax credit of any type. So with the income tax credit, this is going to hurt our public schools. It's going to hurt any of our tax entity government groups that have to rely on that money. So there are some built-in triggers for that, but my fear is that the triggers may not be adequate to totally keep economic growth from being a problem here for how much we give away. So I think we're going to have to be very careful on these tax credits. Now, if the income for economic growth reaches 6 to 8%, which some of these numbers were based on, then perhaps we can do tax credits. But right now we're at, from the last I saw, we're at a job growth of somewhere around 5%. If we were to get to 6, it'd be greater. 8 would be good enough, then we could look at tax credits.
If elected to the Senate, what would be your top 3 priorities?
Number 1, education. We must fully fund education. And I'm opposed to Amendment 3. We cannot come in and take local control away from our school boards on the agenda and the curriculum that they have for our public school children. I taught school most of my life, so it's extremely important that we do a better job in education. So teachers should be accountable, but let's not make so many tests that all the teachers have time to do is test. And that is the problem with Amendment 3. The other thing, then, we have to do a better job of transportation. The two main ways to have economic growth is to have infrastructure and to have good education. Not just for college-bound people. I think we're going to have to raise enough money that we can have kids from 4 years of old on have a free preschool education. So from 4 years on, it needs public education. I'd also like to see the expansion of Bright Flight after high school for those who do well to be able to go to a trade school or community college or state university for 2 years and be on their way to a career. So whether it's Lynn Tech or one of the community colleges or even Mizzou or one of the state universities, we need to expand that Bright Flight and have more kids have the ability to go to at least 2 years beyond high school. So that would be the second one, and then transportation. And then a third area, we have to help our farmers more. We had a dairy bill. If we don't go ahead and supplement in the sense of having a credit where they can buy an insurance, much like the crop insurance that farmers have now, that bill for agriculture that got defeated, if we don't find a way to help our dairy farmers, we lose anymore. Right now, we're importing 30% of our milk from other states, 30%. If we have to go to 50%, milk's going to go up another $1, $2 a gallon. If we go to 80%, you're going to see milk prices go up to $10 a gallon. And that might price milk out of the reach of the average family.